Hey guys, what's going on? It's Nog. Welcome along to round 16 of my career mode in Formula 1 Season 1. If you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe. But without further ado, let's jump into practice. And I actually didn't get the footage for the track acclimatization. For some reason, I wasn't capturing the footage. But we got a green on that, as you can see from the graphics on screen. But I did also incur some damage, so we had to get that fixed. But then it was out to do a tyre wear test, and it took me 3 laps, but we did manage to get a low tyre wear result, so that's good. Some nice resource points going to earn from that. Moving on to the fuel saving, again just coming over to the line here, we only managed to get it green, unfortunately. We were right on the margin of getting it in purple, but we couldn't quite get enough fuel saving as we was coming across the line. And then we went back out on lap 2 and into the hairpin at the end of sector 1 here, beginning of sector 2, and yeah, we stuffed it into the barrier, unfortunately, catching the grass on the way in. Quality practice 2, and it was a wet session, and I went out for race pace, but I was kind of thinking there's no real point to this because it doesn't talk of any other wet sessions throughout the weekend. So I came back in, and the weather did improve later on in the session. We went out and did our qualifying run here, and we managed to get a purple. So yeah, pace is looking pretty good here around the Suzuka circuit. We then went out and did the race pace again, and as you see, we got a green on the first lap, but coming out of Degner 2, we stuffed it into the barrier, and once again, that was the end. Moving on to qualifying, and Q1 here, this is our first lap, and it puts us in a 1:35, which was a position 16, which I knew really was not good enough and not going to get us out of Q1. So with a few minutes left to go, we went back out and we improved by nearly 1.3 seconds, which put us in P13 and safely across into Q2. Moving on to Q2, and we waited till late in the session just to do one run here, and we came across the line to get a 1:33.6, which put us in P9, and there was time for another run, so I did try and push on. However, things didn't go right, so I did abort the run. This is Q3, guys, and I was having a really good first lap, and I got interrupted coming around into the final chicane, and I had to pause it, and it put me off momentum for that. That's why I didn't set a time, but we have got enough time here to set another lap as we go on to the second lap of Q3, but I think we actually messed it up. Yeah, we just ran wide. We ran terribly wide, pushing too hard, which meant that we're not actually going to set a competitive time in Q3.
Sebastian Vettel has a clear track ahead of him today. He starts in pole position, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Bottas, Verstappen, Daniel Ricciardo, and Massa, Ocon, Perez, a Haas, and Roman Grosjean. Sainz, Kvyat, Kimi Raikkonen, and Palmer, Alonso, Stroll, Pascal Wehrlein, and Stoffel van Dorn, Ericsson, and Nico Hulkenberg completes the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
We're in a better grip position than we were expecting. Let's see if we can hold on to it.
So thanks to Kimi Raikkonen's grid penalty, we're actually starting P9. Anyway, it's 5 red lights, and away we go for the Japanese Grand Prix here at Suzuka. Pretty nice start. We're making inroads here on Perez, but got to be careful that we don't get squeezed in the middle here as we put on the brakes and try and hit it down the inside. May have made contact, a little bit of contact with the car behind, not exactly sure, but yeah, we haven't really made any gains there on the first lap, unfortunately. We put our car in a bit of an awkward position. We just got boxed in by the two Force Indias ahead of us there, and we really weren't able to, you know, switch to the inside or do anything different. So poor decision by me on the start there, where I positioned my car. Anyway, we're coming to the end of the first sector and into the Degners here, and we are trying to stay on the back of Perez, hoping that we can get a good exit out the second Degner. Yellow flags behind us, and we're going to maybe take a lunge down the inside here into the hairpin. And we do. That's up to 8th position. So we get in a place where we get a massive bit of oversteer on the exit, and that's allowed Ocon to come alongside us again. So we're trying to leave him space as we head down to the spoon curve here. And as we brake, we lock up the fronts and run wide and push Ocon, unfortunately, wide with us. But we come back just in front of our teammate, Roman Grosjean. So, yeah, Kvyat managed to get in front. So we haven't lost, but we haven't gained, unfortunately, during that little exchange as we head into the fastest corner on the circuit. Not quite flat out with a full load of fuel, but we're going to switch to the inside here and go up the inside of Danik Kvyat into the hairpin, and a little bit of contact or something there, which made me look like I was braking, but I think Kvyat gave me a little tap as he was exiting the corner, and it unsettled my rear. But over the start-finish line, and we are in 8th position at the end of lap 2. We have got yellow flags ahead of us for something, and Max Verstappen is out of the race. He's pulled off to the side there, and that promotes us to P7, so we have made a net gain of 2 places so far in this race. So let's have another look at the start, and like I said, I just didn't position my car very well at all. I got a good start, and I managed to sort of pull almost ahead of Ocon, but I've just got nowhere to go, so I have to apply the brakes and back out of it quite early, unfortunately. So yeah, pretty disappointing start. Our teammate behind us got pushed out by Kvyat. So good start from the Russian there. This is coming out of the second Degner here, down towards the hairpin, where we're going to make our move on Esteban Ocon. And we're just late on the brakes, down the inside, plenty of room to do it, but yeah, we just got an uneasy exit, and that allowed Ocon to pull alongside us and give us this drag race down to the spoon curve. Very, very tight here as we head down. And they just snatch the front tyres and lock up the fronts, and that makes us both run wide. Obviously, Ocon had to go wide to avoid us, and then we come back in front of our teammate as we ride on board here of our teammate. All this is happening in front of him. As you can see, we both go off, and yeah, that could have wiped both the Hasses out. So that was a dangerous return to the track from me. Looking at it on board from Kvyat, he was like, "Thanks, guys. I'm just going to breeze straight down the inside here." And this is it from Ocon. You'll see I locked the fronts there, and Ocon's just got nowhere to turn in at all. But luckily, nobody sustained any damage at all. This is the move here on Kvyat into the chicane. Left him plenty of room, but then he just tags me, his rear, the rear wheels there on the exit, and that made us get a bit unstable. And this is Max Verstappen. What happened to him? It looks like it was an engine failure around the first 2 corners as he just pulls off to the side of the track. Moving on though to lap 3, and it was already time for a pit stop. So yeah, 3 laps this stint was, and we're going to dive into the pits here. We didn't make any losses or gains in that phase of the race, so let's see, with a good pit stop, where we can actually come back out against the rest of the field. Nobody else around me is pitted, interestingly enough. Only the Red Bull of Ricciardo. But with Max Verstappen out, that's actually just going to put us in plumb last. So we need to put together some good, solid, consistent laps and try and push a bit hard here so that we can hopefully make some progress when the AI begins to make their stops. Coming over the line at the end of lap 4, beginning of lap 5, and I felt we were gaining on Perez. Ricciardo has passed Perez, but we're probably gaining because he just made his pit stop. So this is like an indication of where we were. I think we've gained a little bit from where we were originally, but I'm just pushing too hard, and unfortunately our race is going to come to an abrupt end here. And yeah, that's it. Just a little moment there on the curb, on the grass, and we are into the barrier. I had to watch this back a few times to actually understand fully what happened. So as you'll see, we're coming round the first couple of corners here into the fast chicane section, and I mean, from that view and that speed, it doesn't look like we did much wrong. So riding on board here again, still nothing really why we spun out, and slow it right down here, and you can see I just got a little bit greedy on the curb. I took too much curb, as the still here suggests, and we hit the grass and spun the rear tyres, and unfortunately that was the end of the Japanese Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton takes the Japanese Grand Prix with Sebastian Vettel and Valtteri Bottas completing the top 3. Our teammate Roman Grosjean had a good result in 6th position. Looking at the driver's standings, Sergio Perez overtakes us now and has a 4-point lead to us, and our teammate Roman Grosjean has bridged the gap and is tied on 59 points. Looking at the constructors, Williams make inroads on Renault and move up to 6th position, but we retain a solid 4th place. Guys, thank you very much for watching. We're back real soon with the USA Grand Prix in Austin, Texas, but until next time, I've been Nock, you've been awesome. Happy gaming.